Hello and welcome to the channel. I have a very important message for humanity, for all of us and for each of us on this very, very special day of Pluto moving into the sign of Aquarius, which is a 248-year phenomenon because that is the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius in the 1700s. So this is the first and the last time that we are going to experience this transit in our lifetimes for each and every person that's alive on this planet. And the message that came through very, very clearly, it's deep, it's powerful, it has significance to it. And so I really wanted to make sure that it got out there today so that it can be heard and felt and understood by those who have the ears to listen and the hearts to understand. My attention was immediately directed towards the darkness. Like I was given this visual of the darkness and I got this overwhelming sense of sadness to the point where it actually brought me to tears. It was very profound feeling and visual with it. It was just immense suffering that I had picked up on or saw in my vision. And this immense suffering is coming from the darkness. Spirit was showing me that the darkness has been in separation from God for so long that it feels absolutely heartbreaking. It's been staying in separation from God because it feels that it has no way back. It feels that it has no way to redeem itself, that it is too far gone, and that the darkness is also a slave to its own creation, to itself. It's very, very interesting. I've never experienced this before with darkness, and I've never felt such incredible compassion for darkness before. This channeling was very specifically about the darkness, and it was like this new insight that I had received about it. The darkness is emerging, and I had made a previous video about this, that in 2024 I think we're going to be seeing that the darkness is emerging from its depths, and I was receiving huge confirmation about that from Spirit. So it's basically emerging out of its own hell, and the darkness is actually emerging so that it can be transmuted by love, which I thought was crazy. It kind of blew my mind a little bit because I've always perceived the darkness, even though I've respected it, but I've always perceived it as, it enjoys being dark. It enjoys, like the devil loves to be the devil and loves to stay in the frequency that it's in, right? This was a whole new perspective about how the darkness is actually suffering immensely because of its own separation from God. And that was like, whoa, that was really, really mind-blowing for me to perceive the darkness from that perspective. It's coming up for us to recognize it, for us to see it. It is serving multiple purposes, this emergence of darkness. It is also about the emergence of darkness within ourselves. So it's about purging and clearing out whatever darkness still remains within us, within our hearts, within our minds. It's very much about that as well. And Spirit showed me that by holding the vibration of light and love within ourselves, we are actually liberating the darkness from itself. So it doesn't know how to get itself out of the mess that it has created and the depth to where it has sunken down to. But us humans, with our capacity to feel, with our heart chakras having this beautiful vibration to it, we actually hold the key and the power to liberate the darkness itself, to return it back into union with God. And I feel so emotional saying this. It's so weird to feel this way about the darkness. It's very interesting, but it's just what I'm getting, it's just what I'm feeling, and I'm 100% trusting this guidance and this message. So we are liberating darkness from its own hell, as crazy as that sounds. So as we move through and transmute this spiritual war with love here on planet Earth, we are sending a massive shockwave through the planet and into the universe. So this too, I was getting this very clear visual of this ripple effect, very much like water, and the way you throw a stone into the water and the way the ripples go out for quite a long time if you really look at it. And so I was shown the same thing of this universe and how even though we're one speck within our galaxy, that one speck is going to send sort of this shockwave through our entire galaxy from planet Earth. And then it's going to actually move beyond our galaxy. And then I was shown this totality of the universe and how the totality of the universe will be feeling and picking up on this vibration on some level. Just the reach that this frequency has is beyond what we can fathom. It is now really time for us to hold the light within our frequency, no matter what. Do you see the collective mission that we have when we see everything from this sort of zoomed out perspective? And Spirit was saying or showing me that it is time for us to do, everything in our power to fight any temptation to be pulled into negativity through triggers, particularly, and to be pulled into any judgment of yourself or of others. This is truly a time of forgiveness, of transmutation, to transmute all lower vibrational frequencies and energies into much higher frequencies of love. And we need to remind ourselves, because I think we forget sometimes that we all deserve love. No matter how many mistakes we have made, we all deserve love, because God does not judge. Because divine doesn't condemn us for our wrongdoings. It merely wants us to learn to see that there is so much more available to us and so much more joy and happiness if we only choose it. Only we condemn ourselves when we make mistakes. The divine does not. And so I was reminded, when we begin to truly embody our godliness, then we will move out of this phase of judging ourselves and judging one another for the mistakes that we make. And instead, we will recognize collectively that the mistakes that we make are actually the lessons that teach us. So they are so profoundly important. They are what move us closer and closer to God, to unity with the divine. We all embody light and dark within us, right? Certain leaders came to mind as I was writing these notes and channeling this information. And I don't want to name anyone particularly, because there are many, and we are aware that there are many and different people of power that have really chosen to embody the darkness, right? So people that have caused a lot of suffering for others embody the darkness more because they are furthest from God, is what I was shown. So it's what they came here to embody, because the darkness is just as much a teacher as the light. And through their embodiment, they are learning their own lessons about their disconnect from divine vibration. So it's like they're also moving through a process of learning, of understanding. So it's necessary. They are basically playing their role in this grand system and are a part of the puzzle, the tapestry that makes human life what it is here on Earth. We have needed this contrast of dark and light. And as we move to higher and higher states of vibration and higher states of consciousness, we are going to need less and less of that darkness, which is why there is such a massive sort of grand emergence of darkness that we may witness this year. People that are vibrationally on higher and higher levels, they are going to experience less and less of it. There's just going to be way less lessons for them through hardship, through difficulty. Like, that stuff is going to fall away for people that are doing the work and that are moving up on the ascension ladder. And doing the work really truly just means learning to love yourself and learning to love others, regardless of mistakes, regardless of race, sex, differences, status, culture. None of that matters. None of it matters, because we are all one human family. Either way you slice that cake, we are one human family. We are given free will to choose, because that is how much we are loved. That is how unconditionally we are loved, that we are given free will. We get to choose. God isn't forcing anything upon anyone. We get to choose whether we want to embody light or embody darkness. We get to choose what feels better, what serves us better, what makes our life better. So it's really truly up to us. And we have to keep in mind that some will remain attached to the darkness, to their own darkness, because they're so entrenched in it. They are so used to it that it's all they know. And those people will be afraid to let go, to surrender their souls to God. They're going to be afraid to give the darkness up, because they actually fear punishment from God. They're very much an ego, right? Ego is fearful of punishment of God, because your soul knows that God has nothing but unconditional love for you. So this ego construct is something that we must learn to overcome within ourselves, to soothe our egos with love and with kindness, and through taking control and taking power back within ourselves. So don't give in to the fear that arises within you, perhaps at this time, or fear that you have harbored within yourself for a long time. Don't give in to that. This is the year where you have a huge opportunity to release it, to transmute it, to turn it into gold, to something else. Because we're all here to actually recognize the yin-yang within us. We are all here to recognize the distortion of that yin-yang within us. We all embody light and darkness. The question is, how much of your yin-yang is light and how much of it is dark? That is what we are now asked to bring that back into balance, if you feel like it's more to one side than the other. I think for many people, it is definitely more darkness within them, more fear, more separation than there is love and connection. So that's something that we're going to have to really, really work on individually and collectively, but definitely within ourselves. So if you're always sad, depressed, fearful, worried, you are feeding and growing that darkness, that fear within yourself. That is all separation energy. That is all you feeling separate from God, feeling disconnected from that higher power, from divine source, and not trusting that you are taken care of and not embodying your own divinity. So people that are very sad and depressed all the time have really just relinquished their power to the darkness. They've allowed it to take over them. And I know that it can be very difficult to crawl out of that pit that we often dig for ourselves, but it can be done. And this year offers you profound power. With the year of the dragon, it's like literally getting a turbo boost to really crawl out of anything that you've dug yourself into. Now, if you're someone who feels enough as you are, flaws and all, and feels worthy of love and abundance and prosperity and a peaceful life, someone who chooses to focus on the little things that bring joy in life, someone who is willing to live in their truth and be authentic and be real at all times, and someone who is willing to spread love and kindness in the world around you, then you are embodying light and naturally spreading that light in the world. This whole process, and I think this whole year, is going to really allow us to see where we are on the journey back to God, back to that inner union within us. And this is going to look different for each and every single one of us. Your faith will be tested to help you see where you are on this journey. So every trigger, everything that comes up that puts you back into fear, that sends you back into worry, that makes you sad, depressed, all of those things are basically just tests to see, are you going to fall back in that direction, or are you going to allow yourself to move out of that? And are you going to do the work that it takes to get out of that? This year, we are wiser and we'll be able to see our triggers more easily. So you'll be able to see that separation from God more easily, which is awesome. Individually and collectively, the question is, will we cave to fear and control and domination and let it destroy our future? Or will we hold strong to our faith and trust in God's protection and plan for humanity? Will we embody that light and anchor it in and make peace reign again here on earth? If you feel like you've incarnated in this life to be a warrior of the light, or you feel very strongly that you are that person, to raise the vibration of the planet, then this message is definitely for you. And I think you're going to resonate with much of what I'm saying. So this is not the time to give up or to cave to temptation, to let your past story continue defining you. This is the year where we get to really, truly write a brand new book, start a brand new chapter. So the past should all be nothing more than lessons. Then it's like everything that you have experienced up until this point has been this pathway showing you how far out of separation you are from that inner unity, that inner union with God. That's it. So where you are today, look at that, and then look at your past and see the difference, and see how much closer do you feel, how much more at peace do you feel, how much more in love with yourself and in love with life and in love with gratitude and being grateful for the things that you have, even if life isn't perfect, even if you don't have everything that you necessarily want. But in this very moment, in the present moment, how much can you have gratitude for everything that is around you, that you have available to you? That is the question. Because the more that you can be in that vibration, the more that your life will expand, and the more that can come in for each and every single one of us. So don't let your past difficulties keep you believing that's all you're going to get in this lifetime. That whatever you have experienced and whatever you've had up to this point, that's it for you. Because it's not. That's your ego lying to you. That is your ego trying to convince you that there isn't anything more, because the ego is separate from God. The soul is not. We forget, I think, that our ego is truly meant to just keep us alive. It is the system that kicks in to warn you when danger is imminent, right? But it's not meant to be driving the bus, because if it is, then it's constantly running, right? It's constantly in fear. The ego is constantly trying to escape from some kind of disaster, right? But it's like that disaster is artificial. It's not real. It's an illusion. Pluto's shift into Aquarius is your time. It is our time to shine, to come out of hiding, to be the best, most badass self that we can be, so that nothing or no one can stop you from being great and from shining brightly. This is a huge opportunity for humanity right now. for us to really, really pull our socks up and own the power that we have within ourselves, own the divinity that we have within ourselves, own the light, own the level of control that we actually have that we think we don't have. This is the time. You are creating the next 20 years of your life right now. How do you envision the next 20? Visualize it. Today, sit, take some time. Today, tomorrow. It's a very, very powerful time to do this right now, because this energy is so incredibly strong and so incredibly powerful. And with the sun being present with this shift of Pluto, basically the sun and Pluto together move into the sign of Aquarius today. This is literally this massive amplification of energy. And so this energy is going to allow, and this amplification is going to allow whatever you visualize to get a massive boost. So take some time to just sit quietly and dream, daydream. How do you see your future? How do you see the next 20 years unfolding for you? What would you like to experience? What would you like? Where would you like to go? Who would you like to be with? All of it. Feel it. See the details. What kind of life do you see yourself living? And I'm going to recommend to use daily visualization right now and moving forward, even if you just take 5 minutes a day to sit and visualize your future. It's going to be so valuable, and it will accelerate you to that future timeline that you are visualizing for yourself. Because the more you do it, the more you're going to believe it, and the more you believe it, the more you embody it, the more you embody it, the faster it is yours. You're writing the first page of your new beginning right now. See it bright, beautiful, filled with love, joy, and peace. And the most important piece, and the very last thing that I'm going to mention here, that Divine showed me, is that see it for the world too. Visualize the world in peace, in love, in harmony, where everyone has more than enough, where everyone's needs are met, and everyone has love and happiness in their life. So as you visualize for yourself and your life, take another 5 minutes and visualize that peace and that light in the world for all of us. Thank you so much for listening and for tuning in. This is my channeling and my message for Pluto in Aquarius. God bless all of you. I'll see you in the next one.